Hey folks, welcome back. This is the Maine Prepper. Today we're going to be talking about a layered approach to our first aid and medical kits. And so we're going to talk about first aid kits, IFAK, which is individual first aid kit, IFAK, CLS, which is combat lifesaver. It's not only a qualification skill, it's also an actual bag of equipment. And we'll have a look at a CLS bag much later. We're going to get onto the IFAK first. And waiting for the rest of the parts for that to do the level 3 upgrade on there, and then we should be done with the IFAK, although it's always a work in progress, right? And then finally we're going to talk about hospitals and field surgery. So let's begin really quick. We'll talk about first level 1, and that's your individual first aid kit. There are 2 videos up, and by the way, if I point to a video and it's not there, you don't see a link, look down below. There's usually almost always the link listed there. That's for my friends also that have remote viewing devices and these don't show up there, or if you've turned off the show captions option as well. IFAK, individual first aid kit. That is what you carry on your person. That's going to be part of your chest rig. That's going to be the thing that's always on you. If you have your weapon and everything else and you're out there in the bush, you're patrolling or whatever you're doing, your individual first aid kit is always going to be on your person so that we can get to it if you get hurt and fix you up. Individual first aid kit, 1 each. That means each person in your group or team has to have one. It provides for immediate trauma, and it also has preventative medicines in it. And I showed this in my video earlier on what's inside of there, my upgrade in the level 2 part. And we'll show more of this as we go along. But preventive meds also need to include your daily medicines that you take, things that you know to deal with problems and the stuff that ails you. In these IFAKs, you are limited by space. Keep that in mind. You are limited by the space that you have in there. This is for short-term usage. This is not supposed to have things in there like complete surgical kits and everything else. You can buy those items, but keep in mind they don't belong in your individual first aid kit because you will run out of room. You'll have so much stuff in there that you won't be taking care of the basic necessities, which need to be first. And those are what I show in my IFAK already, as put together by Skinny Medic, and it's a good kit. I've got it. I bought it. I thought it was good enough for that. All right, the next thing to talk about is a level 2. That's going to be combat lifesaver bag. That's a much bigger bag. That's kind of the size of many people's EDC bag, in fact. And that has a lot more things in it. It has things like IV bags and fluids. It also may have a suturing device for doing sutures and staples out in the field. It has a lot more medicine, a lot more bandages in there, including a lot more trauma gear. This is for if you have multiple casualties. The CLS bag can be used to replenish other people's IFAKs or to supplement that if one of your people goes down. This also points to the importance of a team concept. You can only carry so much stuff out there. I was always grateful in a long-range reconnaissance patrol unit that even though there were only 4 to 6 of us, that was still a lot better than 1 person. Yes, I could have probably pulled off the mission by myself, but I wouldn't have been able to sleep for days because you got to provide your own security and do your mission and charge your own batteries and everything else. So it's not possible. The more the merrier, up to a point. You don't need 100 people out there in the woods with you unless you have a real good command and control element. CLS bag, 1 per team. It's longer term, but it's not permanent. You're not going to carry in there an entire field surgical hospital, hospital beds and bedpans and all of that. You're going to carry stuff that you could carry in addition to your rucksack. And remember, 1 per team. Ideally, if you're bugging out, you got a group, you got somebody that has a CLS bag with them. You got somebody else that maybe has a little bit better high-end radio equipment. Everybody has a little something extra they're carrying. Everybody doesn't need their own shovel, their own axe, and their own knife, and their own this and their own that. And that's where the lone wolf preppers are going to get beat down because they presume they can do everything by themselves. And in reality, you can only do a few things very well and a lot of things poorly, and that's what's going to happen. Conversely, if you can specialize and have a group of people, neighbors or whatever, and you're working together as a team, this is what's going to help. Again, as with the IFAK, we're limited by space. There's only so much you can carry. I don't care how strong you think you are. You start humping around hundreds of pounds of gear in the woods, you're going to find out you're really not. Level 2A. Why do I call it level 2A? Well, because it's going to be what's in your house, and it's not going to be really with you, but it's not exactly CLS bag, and it's not exactly the hospital. It's kind of in between, and it more or less supplements what's in the CLS bag. It's what's in your medicine cabinet at home. In other words, I'll have a little baggie with half a dozen or maybe 2 dozen ibuprofens in it. At home, I got the industrial sized jar. I got a case of industrial sized jars of them at home. That sort of thing. We're not limited by space, you see. We're limited by budget. So this is where you're going to have preventative and treatment medicines, including herbal medicines and oils, as well as doctoring medicines, antibiotics, etc. And you're going to have a lot more extra bandaging material, a lot more extra cleansers, iodine, etc., etc. Again, you're limited by your budget on this, not so much by the space. And then lastly, but not least, in the levels of care for injuries is going to be the hospital or the surgery. And this points the need for community, obviously, because unless you're your own doctor and you've got your own independent sources of wealth and you can set up your own field surgical hospital, you're probably going to need someplace to take somebody that's seriously injured, got a gut shot wound or a broken leg. You want to be able to take them to the doctor. Out in the country, you have a lot of these town doctors. You even have veterinary doctors that know how to do some of these things. If I was going to die and my choice was die or go see the veterinary doctor, I'd go see the veterinary doctor. He might be able to help. Then again, maybe not. Who knows? But it's better than just laying there and dying, right? So these are the 3 levels of care, and the next video I hope to get into, if the rest of my supplies arrive, the IFAK, and show you the rest of the gear that goes into the IFAK. Folks, this has been the Maine Prepper, and remember, our goal through all of this is not just to survive, but to thrive. So I encourage you, if you don't have your IFAK, get that done. If you've got that, we'll start working on the CLS bag here in the near future. You can buy them already stocked, but I hope to get my hands on mine soon and show you what's in there. That being said, it may be months before I do. Thank you, folks. This has been the Maine Prepper, and thrive, don't survive.